manager here. This is Brian Hauser. He is my associate rep, but think of him as an extension of me. He can do everything I can and probably better. So I'll be taking over the account. So we're going to talk about Bravo. I kind of wanted to do a little show of hands on who has done a Bravo procedure before.
That's it.
Okay, that sounds good. So I'll do a little bit more in depth. I just wanted to make sure. Luckily, you guys are coming onto a system where we don't have to do the calibration on the front end for the capsules. I'm sure Judy can tell you how awesome that was on the front end and how much time it took to do. So luckily, you guys don't have to do that part of this procedure, which is, again, a huge time saver. So I'll kind of briefly go through this, but it's really important for everybody to know the indications and contraindications. Can everybody see that? Everybody's good? Okay. So monitoring system is intended for use in gastroesophageal pH measurement and monitoring of gastric reflux in adults and children from 4 years of age. The Bravo capsule can be attached following either an endoscopy or a manometry. Typically it's on the endoscopy side. Reflux and ActiView software application is intended to record, store, view, and analyze gastroesophageal pH data. I can go over at probably a later date on how to do the upload and interpretation. Judy, I'm sure, will handle a lot of that. But if anybody else wants to learn that, we can go over that as well. Some of the contraindications: patients with bleeding, strictures, severe esophagitis, varices, and obstructions. So this is really important. With the cal-free, it doesn't take as long on the front end we don't have to do any calibration stuff. So once we get the go-ahead from the physician that we're going to drop, or if they've recently been scoped by the physician, then we can start our process of pairing it with the recorder itself. We just want to make sure that we're not using any disposables that we don't need to. So if we don't know they have esophagitis and we go down and they scope and they have esophagitis, we're not going to drop the Bravo, of course, right? So let's just make sure we're working with the physicians and communicating appropriately to make sure that we're not using any disposables that we don't need to. Patients with pacemakers and implantable cardiac defibrillators, we cannot do a Bravo procedure on those. Some of the risks, it's a very real low risk procedure. So a lot of these don't really happen all that much, but it's important to know that these can happen. And the ones that do are the aspiration and tears or perforations in the mucosa. Again, it's only sucking in a little bit of tissue on the esophagus wall, so typically that's not going to happen. That's pretty much it on that. And then some of the other risks, there is going to be a trocar needle that's going to go through some of the esophagus. That's what's attaching the Bravo capsule to the esophageal wall. That does have stainless steel, so if they have any sort of metal allergy or anything like that, it's something to be aware of. Typically they don't have any adverse effects to it because it's such a small trocar, but if they have any severe allergies to stainless steel or metal, we want to make sure that we're aware of that, and we probably won't do a Bravo procedure on them.
So that would be a contraindication then?
Yes, ma'am.
So you recommend not doing it at all?
I wouldn't.
We have in the past, that make the patient aware this is a risk and stuff, that the patient
And
feel it at all.
and that's typically what will happen. It is a contraindication, but it's up to you guys and your physicians. If you feel comfortable dropping it, then that's you can drop it at that point.
I think since nobody has ever done this, just to get an idea of what a Bravo is, it's a little capsule that gets dropped endoscopically and attaches to the esophagus on the inside and does measurements for 4 days. Patient has to wear a recording device, and that gets dropped after.
Little Bravo recorder piece right there. So this is the disposable. This is the piece that actually helps drop.
And this is the size of the actual Bravo that's attached.
Correct.
All that's the deployment device.
Yep.
Which is on there. That's the esophagus.
Yep.
This is done endoscopically? It goes down the biopsy port?
Nope. So it's separate. So what we'll do is we'll get our measurements. We'll pull the scope out. We'll drop the Bravo. We'll go through the process here, and I'll go through these steps in a little bit. We'll drop the capsule. Then we'll go down endoscopically as well to confirm that it has deployed and everything's good. So I'll go through all that stuff too as well. But from a procedural standpoint, it's a very easy procedure, 5-10 minutes maybe. So it's a in and out type of procedure. So here are kind of the components of it. We have the recorder, we have the software, this is the recorder case, chargers, here's the disposable, which is now going around right now. That is, of course, the catheter that will deploy the little capsule that's going to attach to the esophageal wall. And then we have the Medela pump right there. So that's going to basically allow the capsule to be suctioned to the esophageal wall so we can deploy that trocar in order for it to attach to the esophagus there.
So when you actually get to the deployment phase, there's no visualization?
There's no visualization.
Okay.
Correct. That's why we go down post once we pull out to make sure that it is deployed appropriately. Yep.
Is there a feel for that then? I mean,
The
Yeah.
physician does it, but yeah.
So the physician will do it. Yep. So they'll go down, and if there's any sort of resistance on the way out, there's actually another process, and we'll do it on here as well. You actually break the handle. That will deploy the trocar, whether it's been deployed on the esophageal wall or not. So it can go down in the stomach if it hasn't deployed appropriately. But any sort of resistance, we'll break that handle, pull out, and then we'll still go down with the scope and check if we've attached or not attached.
okay.
So the system, so we'll kind of go through what it is. Bravo reflux scalpel is placed transorally in patients who are sedated or unsedated. Bravo calibration-free reflux capsule measures esophageal pH. Telemetry to send data to recorder. That's that right there, the 433.9 megahertz. So from a procedural step, so we'll kind of walk through. I'll have Brian kind of show you while I'm talking through it. So when you guys, I'll have you open that. I'll kind of show them how they open that. It's going to be on my side there.
Yeah.
So once we get the go-ahead from the physician that we don't have any sort of contraindication, or really the biggest one you guys will see will be that esophagitis. If we have the go-ahead, we are going to have the ability now to open up the Bravo. And you guys can open up one of these as well. We have another one here as well. You guys kind of get a feel for that.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Yep, and you'll rip it kind of straight down. Perfect.
There we go.
Yep. So there's going to be a little plastic box on the end that's going to actually be housing the capsule there. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that off. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Good way to open it, kind of have it on a flat surface
Yep.
while you're doing it.
And
so
you
that
kind of
won't
pull
keep
away
it.
from it. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot easier.
Not for you.
Open it up and he said take the
Yeah.
The lid off of the
Yep, so
valve.
you can actually, when you open it up, actually peel it all the way down. And it's doing the thing, it's a lot easier, of course, to do it on that flat surface, so it's easier to pull it all the way off. So once we pull it out of there, we're going to have the ability to show the Bravo capsule there. So,
the lid off of the.
yeah, once we've got it open, we want to make sure we do a couple things. We want to make sure that the expiration date is not expired. We do not want to drop expired disposables, right? So that's going to be one thing that we want to look for before we open it. Also, we do not want to make sure, that we do not kink this cord at all. There's a wire in here. It can break. If this thing breaks, this will not deploy appropriately. So we can't, this is fine, but we don't want to like snap it in any way, because that will break that wire that's in there, and it, again, will not deploy appropriately. Once we've opened it up, what we're going to do, there's that little plastic white piece right there, yep. On the new Bravo capsules, these are the older ones right here, they have that little bulb you can see there. That will not be there. That was for the calibration piece of
This little
it.
magnetic clip.
Yep. So once you take that off, so that bulb on that side will not be
Take it
there.
off on
Yep,
this
so you can
side.
take that off, and then there'll be that little magnet.
You just pull over.
Yep. Perfect. So once that magnet is off, we're going to want to make sure that that magnet is not anywhere near the Bravo capsule, okay? That's the piece that's making sure that it's not starting its connection with the Bravo recorder, okay? So don't have it right next to it. Again, we will not have that bulb on the new Bravo capsules.
Room 829, code blue, 8 south, room 829,
So again, we want to have it at least
8 south.
2 meters away, this little magnetic clip. we want to make sure it's at least 2 meters away from the delivery capsule. Again, that's the piece that is basically initiating the calibration or the connection with the Bravo recorder. So what we want to do, after we've checked and made sure that it has not an expired disposable, again, this will not be here. And once we've taken off that white magnetic, there's a little tissue well here, okay? We want to make sure that we visualize that to make sure the trocar has not deployed yet. If the trocar is deployed and we try to deploy it, it's not going to attach to the esophageal wall. So that's just something visually that you want to make sure that little tissue wall there does not have that little pin or trocar already through the little tissue well there.
Quick.
Once we've done all that, we want to make sure that we check the pump. We want to make sure that we check the pump, that the pump is working appropriately as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the pump. We're going to connect the hose here. And Judy's been so nice to actually cut off this tip here. This piece is going to go to the Bravo. This piece is going to go to the pump. Pump, Bravo. The suction does not really work appropriately with this piece attached to it when this side attached to the Bravo, okay? So we want to make sure that we cut that off. So we're going to attach it here.
Is that tubing come with the system?
It does not. It's separate. It's just regular suction tubing, yep. Which is the reason why we're cutting off this side, because it's really not appropriately made specifically for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our thumb right on the pump.